Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Burke County Commissioners' regular meeting for Tuesday, August 15th, 2017. Welcome, and all commissioners are present, along with the county attorney and Madam Clerk. I'll ask you tonight at this time to silence your mobile devices. If you have telephones, iPads, all those kind of things, if you will please silence those devices. And then I'll ask presenters tonight to please come either to the table or to the lectern where you'll have microphone, so that all of us in the room can hear, as well as those who might be watching or listening via the internet or television or whatever means that they may be watching our meeting on tonight. We're happy to have Pastor Ed Stevenson from Arnie's Fairview United Methodist Church with us tonight. I'm going to ask Brother Stevenson to come to the mic, and let's all stand together and have invocation.
Mr. Britton, before I make our plea, there's a rumor about our county that I think you gentlemen need to know about. I can't tell you the validity of it, but I can tell you that I believe it. The rumor is that a young man out on the left coast several years ago decided that he would catalog every church in the United States. As he proceeded along our left coast out there into some of the greater cathedrals, he would run across a golden telephone. Above that telephone said, "Calls to heaven, $10,000. So he called the first pastor about the first telephone, and he said, He said, yes, you can call heaven for $10,000 a minute. He worked his way across the United States. Every once in a while in great cathedrals, he would see this same gold telephone. He finally made it to Burke County, North Carolina. Out in a little rural church in sight of our mountains, there was this gold telephone, call to heaven, 10 cents. He called the old country preacher, and he said, "Preacher, I don't understand this." He said, "Everywhere else in the United States I've been, these calls are $10,000. What is this about?" The old preacher said, "Son, you don't understand. You're now in Burke County, North Carolina, and it's a local call." God of us all, Father, we thank you for the opportunity to come to the backbone of our democracy, the backbone indeed, Lord, of this great republic that we call united. Father, it is not without notice that we are given the opportunity to make our plea and our appeal to you, to invoke your Spirit to be with us here tonight. We do so at this time. Lord, help us to remember that we are all created in your image. You've created only one race, and that is the human race. Father, that we disagree with one another is simply a disagreement. It is not a call to be disagreeable. Lord, we do make this plea at this time that in spite of ourselves, that you watch over each and every one here gathered tonight, and that in spite of ourselves again, Lord, that you have your will in all of our lives. We pray for camaraderie. We pray for unity. We pray, Lord, when we disagree, that it is simply a disagreement. We ask this prayer, we make this plea in the name of your Son, our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Brother Stevenson. We are delighted tonight to have Girl Scout Troop 02761 under the leadership of Kimberly Williamson, troop leader. We'll ask the girls to come up and lead us in our pledge at this time.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, girls, if you'll come right down front here in front of the rail, we want to come down and make a picture with you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, that brings us to item 4 on our agenda tonight, approval of meeting minutes. Gentlemen, you have had in your possession for some time the minute meetings for May 30th, 2017, June 6, 2017, June 6, 2017 recessed meeting and pre-agenda meeting. I would ask that you consider approving those at this time.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Wayne. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Thank you. Tonight, you've got our agenda. There's no changes on the agenda tonight. I will entertain a motion at this time for approval of the agenda as presented.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. All those in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Thank you, all of us, Madam Clerk. All right, item 6 on the agenda is presentations. First item tonight, and the only item on the presentation agenda, is from Community Development 2017 Coalition for Recreational Trails Award for the Mountains to Sea Trail and the Fontaflora State Trail Connector, and that'll be presented by Scott Carpenter, our Deputy County Manager and Planning Director. Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members. It's a pleasure to be here tonight, as it always is when I'm with you all. But tonight, I'm here to present the Mountains to the Sea Trail. Fontaflora State Trail Connector Project has been awarded and selected for the Coalition for Recreational Trails Program, a 2017 award in the Public-Private Partnerships and Access to Use of the Public Lands category. The Mountains to the Sea Trail, Fontaflora State Trail Connector Trail, is a 3-mile hiking and mountain biking trail that goes through the Linville Tract of North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission game lands, and it connects the Fontaflora State Trail to the Lake James Loop Trail, and it also allows access up into the northern mountains and all the way actually to the coast eventually from Lake James, and you can also make it all the way over to Klingman's Dome on the Mountains to the Sea Trail. So I was fortunate enough that this governing board and our manager allowed me to go up to Washington, D.C. I don't know if we have a picture of Washington. There I am in Washington, D.C. To receive the award. And there were several Congress members there that were at the presentation, and there were other states and counties. The representatives on the left were from Richard Burr's office, and there is the award that we got. So thank you so much for letting us go. And we have received several emails from different groups from around the country, because this is the umbrella group for almost all the money that's given out for recreational trails programs in the United States. So.
All right, thank you, Scott. Well, on behalf of this board and all the citizens of Burke County, I want to congratulate you and the staff of our planning department. All the work that you have done is certainly continuing to pay off, and we appreciate all the efforts of you and everyone involved in this task.
Thank you, sir.
All right, that brings us to item 7, scheduled public hearings. Tonight we have one scheduled public hearing. That matter is the Community Development Zoning Map Amendment ZMA 2017-05 and public hearing. That also will be presented at this time by Scott Carpenter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We do have one item that is a rezoning request, and as you can see, it looks like there's a lot of interest in this item, or else it was in the trails item. I'm hoping it was the trails item. But I have a feeling it's this zoning that's before you this evening. So staff has received an application to rezone a 10-acre portion of an 886-acre parcel of land from its current zoning of R3 residential to office institutional zoning district. The applicant has an offer to purchase for the 10-acre tract from the North Carolina Order of Fraternal Police, who would like to rezone the property to a zoning district that would allow for an office or professional space of about 3,000 square feet or less. As far as the site analysis goes, the parcel is as follows. It's got a 911 placeholder address of 1220 North Carolina 126, Morganton, North Carolina. It's the parent tract is identified as PIN number 178-433-4622 for the record. And as a reference, the parcel is located about 2.5 miles from Independence Boulevard or Freedom High School, and it has 172 feet of frontage along North Carolina Highway 126. The North Carolina Department of Transportation's functional class system identifies 126 as a major collector road. As far as the land uses in and around this property, the current zoning is as follows. To the north is residential 3, south residential 2, east residential 2, west is residential 2, and for the existing land uses, to the north is vacant timberland, and on the south, east, and west are single-family residences. The parcel is located within the water supply, protected water supply area. Mapping records show that the parcel is served by public water. There is no public sewer in the area. Therefore, all development utilizes on-site wastewater treatment systems and private wells. Conformity with the comprehensive plan is the area in which the rezoning is proposed is classified as a secondary growth area. Secondary growth areas have many of the same attributes as primary growth areas, such as access to infrastructure, utilities, and transportation corridors, or a reasonable expectation of access in the near future. Development of these areas may be in place currently, and existing development will generally be less dense than primary growth areas. As far as conformity with the Burke County zoning ordinance, the request by the applicant is proposing to establish an office, so it is not in compliance with the current R3 zoning district. And of course, that's why they were asking for a change to allow their use. The Planning Board met on June 22nd, 2017 to hear this rezoning request. And at the meeting, many members of the community did turn out to voice their opposition to the rezoning. And the Fraternal Order of Police stated that they would try to appease the citizens by taking reasonable measures to alleviate their concerns. However, that was not able to be achieved. So the Planning Board met and they voted 5-2 to recommend to this governing board denial of the rezoning request. If you choose to move forward with the rezoning request, you would have to also adopt a consistency statement. And we have 2, one for approval and one if you all decide on denial. So.
All right, thank you, Scott. Thank you for the information. Just before I open the public hearing, I'll ask if commissioners have any questions for Scott at this time.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, Scott, how many people does this entity entertain is going to be making the trip up and down and using that facility?
I don't have any details that would indicate that, sir. You're talking about the Fraternal Order of Police. How much traffic would that use generate? We have no way of knowing that at this time. It would be
Is there an
periodic.
estimate?
It's not going to be a full-time office business 8 to 5. It would be whenever they schedule meetings and have, special events.
Is there gifts weekly, monthly, 100 a month?
I was not privileged to that information.
Well,
If we were in a conditional use rezoning, we would be asking for more of those types of information. But we offered to do a conditional zoning so that the community would know exactly what was being proposed, but the applicant did not want to do a conditional zoning.
is there an underlying principle or reason they chose that spot? I mean, I guess where I'm going, Scott, and maybe this is the best way to ask the question, it appears that a more centrally highway-friendly, not that 126 is not a good road, it is, but it appears that a better location could be acquired. That does get a little bit out of the way, and as it indicates in your information, that, it's homeowners out there and not businesses, and so that's the reason I'm asking the question.
It could, but I only come with the cards that I'm dealt from the developer. So whenever they petition and ask, that's what I have to bring forward. And they don't necessarily go into their other choices or things with us.
In your best opinion, will it increase the neighbor's property or decrease the value of it?
I have no way of knowing that, sir.
I still have the questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions to Scott? Okay, thank you, Scott. Just before I open the public hearing, let me say that we did have a request early on for a member of the community to speak on behalf of a number of residents, and we've agreed to do that and allow a little extra time for that. And so that is L.H. Kirksey, and we'll hear that presentation first. And so let me ask if you feel that presentation adequately presents your opinions. Maybe then, as we go down the road, you can either choose not to speak if you've signed up to speak. Certainly, we want everybody to speak that wants to. But if your opinions are made clear, then you'll have that option. Also, if you've signed up to speak, you'll certainly have that opportunity tonight. So at this time,
Mr. Chairman, Alex Kirksey.
yes, sir.
We kind of have an order of our presentation, and with your permission and board's permission, I'd like to keep our neighbors most affected, closest to this property in question, be allowed to speak first, and then I'll be making my presentation somewhere in the middle.
Okay, I see these numbers now, so these numbers represent the order. Okay, all right. All right, well, with that said, I want to open the public hearing at this time, and we'll hear from Alan and Derry Lambert, please.
Okay, thank you for hearing us. We are Robert Allen and Derry Lambert, and our home and property joins the rezoning request. First off, we have the utmost respect for all law enforcement agencies, including the Fraternal Order of Police, and we appreciate and support them, but this is about rezoning. And we built our home and have lived on 126 for over 27 years. Most of our neighbors have been there much longer. We all take pride in our homes and our neighborhood, and it shows we care by all that are in attendance tonight. So that's the main reason that we're against the rezoning, and we want to keep our neighborhood intact. Secondly, we received a letter last year from a local real estate agency, which I have a copy of. They were representing Caldwell Timbers, stating adjoining property owners would have the opportunity to buy in a pre-development phase of tracts to be called Oak Hill Farms. It was presented there would be 3 phases of development with 10-plus acre tracts, which I have a copy of. We were excited about this residential development, so in hopes of passing to our future generations. We purchased 16 acres. The rezoning request property is part of this Oak Hill Farm Plan and adjoins this property. Needless to say, the request is disheartening because we feel it hurts our neighborhood and our investment. Third, there's a great need for residential homes and communities in Burke County. The News Herald just reported on the increasing demand for housing. Our neighborhood is close to great schools. It's not far from the city limits of Morganton, the town of Glen Alpin. It's a wonderful residential area, especially for families. Also, 126, once known as Yellow Mountain Road. It's a scenic highway, a bike route, a pathway to recreation on the lake and in the mountains, and much history follows this winding road. I think there's even a book on Yellow Mountain Road. So we appreciate the work of the Planning Board and all of you, our commissioners, our county commissioners. We know this task is hard, and we hope you keep our residential status and neighborhood a priority. We feel rezoning would open the door to being surrounded by businesses, and we hope your decision leaves a positive impact on our community and neighborhood.
A couple more points that I want to make present is this property does not have any restrictions. So it could allow the subdividers of the property owners to subdivide this 10 acres into more property. And with the 3,000 square foot, I think they're saying that the building they're applying for, it's really not a appropriate plan for the whole 10 acres to be zoned office institutional. So we feel like our neighbors rezoning this property will create a wide range of undetermined, uncontrolled impact to our neighborhood. And I hope the board recognizes and concerns and denies this request.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lambert. All right, now we'll hear from Robert Carter.
Good afternoon. My name's Robert Carter. I live on 126. I live to the left of this property, next. I've lived there for 38 years. And being all considered, it's been relatively quiet. The neighborhood has been. I think one of the commissioners asked about the traffic. Well, I live in an area where we have buses on both sides, coming from the middle school as well as Freedom. It's quite a bit of traffic. And you asked the question, what kind of traffic? Well, you won't know, but if there's any more traffic, I don't think this road can handle any more traffic. Like I said, the neighborhood is relatively quiet, except for, I think they've created a firing range that I hear every Saturday just about. So I'm pleading to the commissioners to let it stand as it is. A residential to the neighbors, they're nice, they're friendly. We keep to our own business, and we just like the way it always has been. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. This time we'll hear from John Cantrell, and please state your name and address once you come to the mic, please.
Afternoon, my name is John Cantrell, and by the way, I'm not the one on the city council either, but I live at 1268 NC 126, and this rezoning, my neighbor here, Carter, I live next to him, and all of this is actually right behind us, right in our backyards or feet up in the woods. And I've lived there for 17 years, and it's been a nice neighborhood, and I like it. But about 4 months ago, every morning, right at daylight, I could hear all the noise and heavy equipment and tree cutting machines, and it'd wake me up every morning about daylight. And I never had been waking like that before, so they cut trees and cleared timber for about 2 months. And then about 2 months after that, this zoning comes up, and they said it was for the Fraternal Order of Police. And as Dave said, I have all respect for law enforcement, but I believe that this is just a precedence to get this zone, and after that, I think they said over 800 acres. If they get it zoned for this, then that means everybody can come in. So they said, well, you already got it zoned, so we won't have a problem. And I think, like my neighbor said, there's so much traffic now on 126, especially when school's going on, even in the summertime. Recreation is the main link to Lake James. And I don't believe that 2-lane road could handle more traffic like that. But I do have respect for your decision, but I plead to you to turn down this request, because I like it, the community's peaceful, but I believe if this goes through, we'll see a change in the years coming up. So that's my plea. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Cantrell.
We'll see if Paul will get his computer out of that chair and let that lady in the back come up and have a seat.
Paul, we got one more lady standing. Can you maybe move your computer there and clear a chair for her? Come on up, ma'am, if you'd like to have a seat. All right, at this time, we'll hear from Gary Harbison. Sheriff, we can move the plaque if you'd like a seat.
Sorry?
We can move the plaque if you'd like to have a seat, Sheriff.
I'm good. I need to stand up a little bit for a few count.
Okay, hang in there.
Good afternoon. I'm Gary Harbison. I also live on 1306 NC Highway 126. I live beside Mr. Cantrell and Mr. Carter. I'd like to speak against this zoning because we have no idea what's going to move into the neighborhood after it's rezoned. I was going to speak on some other matters, but something happened yesterday. I decided to speak about this. Where you turn on 126 at Freedom High School, it's exactly 2.9 miles to my driveway. An 18-wheeler truck turned in front of me to go up 126. And as you know, 126 is a winding road. So I followed this 18-wheeler truck to my driveway. I counted 10 curves that he had to go into just to make it up 126. In those 10 curves, he crossed the yellow line, the double yellow line, 8 times. And so that got my mind wondering, okay, if he's doing this and other people coming into the neighborhood with 18-wheelers going to various businesses that might come into the community that don't know that road, what if we have elderly citizens traveling that road and he crosses that line or put them in danger, or an 18-year-old that's hasn't had his license that long happened to run into a curve with this 18-wheeler crossing the line. So I thought that this would be something I need to bring to the board's attention, because this road is not really built for an 18-wheeler truck to come up at various times. I believe we experience a lot of the Burke County public waste truck coming up 126 at a high rate of speed. I believe more than myself have probably encountered that truck. These individuals need to slow this truck down, because it's going to cause a problem one day and someone's going to lose their life. So I request that this zoning be denied for this various reason, because this road is not wide enough to handle a lot of traffic that it could present in the future. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Harbison. All right, now we'll hear from L.H. Kirksey.
I live at 1356 NC 126. This is the fourth meeting that the neighborhood and I have attended. And at this point in time, Mr. Chairman, can I have my neighbors raise one of their hands so we'll know who they are? Sure. Neighbors, let's raise our hands. From here on out, that's the we you'll hear in my presentation.
Okay.
As I said, this is the fourth meeting. 2 P&B, or planning board meetings, meeting at Oak Hill Methodist Church with the officers of the Fraternal Order of Police, and then now tonight. And now, this is the fourth meeting. I have not heard one good, valid reason why it has to be in our neighborhood. They just hadn't heard anything, and I don't think y'all heard anything tonight. If you'll, in the paperwork that I've given, if you go to item 1, this shows a schedule of permitted and permissible uses by the District of Office Institution Zoning District. And the first page lists the uses by just right of ownership, without any special conditioning or anything. Now, I'm not going to read that list, that whole list. I'm going to speed it up. But there are a couple of things. For example, banks and loan offices, financial institutions, churches and cemeteries. We'll come down to the office, professional space, 3,000 square feet or less, 3,000 square feet to 30,000 square feet, greater than 30,000 square feet. Parking lots, parking garages, radio and TV repair shops, a rest home, and treatment and recovery facilities. And as you can see on what I have given you, there's a lot more uses. So it's not just a fairly restricted zoning, by zoning use. Okay, Kay, if we could go to item 2.1. All right, this is an aerial view of 2 properties and others that I'll show. In red, the red outline represents this property being requested to be rezoned. Blue line is the Lambert property showing their house in the lower left corner. To the immediate left of the vertical line is Mr. Carter's house. To his left is Mr. Cantrell's house, and Mr. Harbison is just past him up in the woods. Okay, item 2, okay? This is a preliminary plan we got, phase 2 of the Caldwell Timber Partners. Right below the P is the tract of the land in question. The Lamberts is a tract just to the lower right of it. And then I can count you 1, 2, 3, 4, at least tracts that are in this preliminary plan that could be also requested for rezoning. Because if you rezone one property, what's to stop Caldwell Timber Partners from coming before and asking for rezoning of these other properties? Okay, no, the next one. Now, with all of us neighbors living up there for quite some time, we know a little bit about this property, and we have a solution possibly to this problem. This is Watermill Oak Hill going down to the point there, the lowest blue point. It swings on around and continues on up to the community of Oak Hill. The blue line represents 247 acres owned by Caldwell Timber Partners. And the red line is the city of Morganton sewer. And if I was going to build a commercial building, I'd like to have city sewer instead of septic, because we don't know how many people on the requested rezoning tract, how many people would even be there. Could be a large gathering. And just past where the Oak Hill Watermill Road it goes up, there's another tract of land in part of this large tract spoken about, owned by Caldwell Timber Property or Partners, and there's sewer line there. So this company owns 2 tracts of land, and it's pretty much not built up around it. And I think Caldwell Timber Partners ought to work with the Fraternal Order of Police, give them access to sewer, and then they could create buffers from where the sewer line is going back into on up Watermill Oak Hill, where the houses are there now, because there are houses above it, but they could create a buffer. I guess item 3 now, okay. Yes. Item 3, folks. This is a synopsis of an article by Sharon McBrayer that announced the 7,000-plus acre purchase by Caldwell Timber Partners from Crescent Communities. And on the first page, you'll see 5 parcels that are all in the Morganton community. And on the second page, you'll see 9 more. And on August the 4th, we looked online, Burke County Register of Deeds website, and out of the 7,000 acres, I didn't give you copies of this, but I can tell you out of the 7,000 acres, since they started selling land up through August the 4th of this year, they sold 1,227 acres. And that leaves a balance of 5,772 acres, or 82% of the lands they still have. And I feel like Caldwell Timber Partners could work with the Fraternal Order of Police and find a more suitable site as opposed to putting it in our neighborhood. And I'd like to be on record that some of the neighbors, including myself, have supported the Fraternal Order of Police for quite a few years. Commissioners, thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Kirksey. All right, we'll hear from Tom Blanton at this time.
Good evening. I'm here with my wife, Beth, who's back here, always supporting me. We've lived on Swan Pond Drive, which is on the left side of 126, for 23 years. It's hard to believe it's been that long. We love the area and we love the neighborhood. I'm going to be brief. There were only 2 votes in planning and zoning that favored this change. Everyone else was against it. The neighborhood is united in opposition to the zoning change. We ask you to keep it residential because you've adopted the original zoning plan, and that is a master plan for long-term growth in this county. It's a good plan, and we ask you to stick to it. It was well planned, well thought out, and a lot of man-hours went into that plan. I've attended all the meetings and met with the Fraternal Order of Police, and I have yet to hear one valid reason as to why the zoning should be changed. And that's kind of surprising. But they haven't stated one good reason yet. Someone asked about the property values a little while ago. The property values will be kept best and highest by keeping our area residential. And my friend Clint Lytle, who's the most experienced land appraiser in Burke County, will have something to say that I think is crucial and very important on this in just a moment. On the first map that was up when this began this evening, this lot of 10-plus acres is like a front door to 800-plus acres. And we feel like, and our fear is that if you change the zoning here, you open the door because the second, third, and subsequent request for rezoning will be easier. That's just human nature. So don't breach the dam right now. And I would predict that if this is changed, that you will receive, and this might not make your lives very comfortable, but I predict that you're going to receive tons and tons of these zoning requests for changes. I think you should stick to your master plan. Please help us keep our neighborhood residential. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Blanton. All right, we'll now hear from Clint Lytle.
Chairman and County Commissioners, my name is Clinton Lytle. I live at 900 126. It's a beautiful neighborhood. It's a peaceful neighborhood. And as an experienced appraiser, Lambert's property will be depreciated. The other property that's joining this will appreciate in value, and you should not vote to diminish value of people's property. Basically, this is spot zoning. You're right in the middle of a residential neighborhood zoning O&I. They first came and wanted to do neighborhood business, and then they changed it to O&I. So I request that you honor our request and turn this zoning down. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lytle. Okay, I believe that's all the requests I had here. Are there anyone else interested to speak to this matter tonight? Okay, hearing none, I'll close the public hearing at this time. Commissioners, I'll entertain any further questions that you might have for our planning folks. This time, any questions, comments?
Mr. Chairman, just a general comment. I have a long history. I still know it as Yellow Mountain Road. Somebody mentioned that earlier. I know many of you out there, and first 8 years of my life, I grew up in Emerywood. So I'm very familiar with this area and still have friends and family in that area. And you know, all of us respect the Fraternal Order of Police and their membership. But I will say, you know, being familiar with this area for the last 47 years, still living in the general area, having family and friends out there, knowing the traffic problems, you know, I stated in the last pre-agenda meeting that I was against rezoning. I still stand that way. I just don't think it's a good idea.
Thank you, Commissioner Moore. Any other comments or questions on this matter?
Mr. Chairman, may we address a couple of questions to Scott?
Yes, sir.
Scott, we'd have to break our own rules and make exceptions to rezone that. Is that a correct statement?
I'm not sure what you're asking me.
Pardon?
Ask again, please.
I said if we would have to break our own rules and procedure to rezone this 10 acres in that residential area. Is that correct?
Break your own rules. I'm not sure that I'm following.
Oh,
Master plan. You're gonna go against your master plan.
Well, if we're talking about the comprehensive plan, it doesn't go against the comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan is general in nature, and so it doesn't specify specific properties to be rezoned necessarily.
your planning board voted 5-2 not to do it. Was there a consensus of why not that we may be made aware of?
I think because they decided that they wanted to abide by what the residents wanted that lived in the area, and they would have to live with whatever came. And so that's the way they voted.
Mr. Chairman, might be a little out of line, but I don't think it is. Is there any way we can entertain with this group to put that business, for example, were they trying to sell stuff at the Broughton Hospital and that land? Would that not be a better place ideally suited for such a operation?
I don't think that is before the board. I think only this specific place is, and that's all we can address tonight. I do know that the Fraternal Order of Police has looked at several other sites, and that's all I know.
They have,
They have looked at several other sites, but I don't know if they've made any headway or made offers or anything like that.
that's all I have, Chairman.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Taylor. Any other comments or questions? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion at this time on this.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to deny the rezoning request and corresponding consistency statement, and I offer the following consistency statement. The proposed zoning map amendment can be considered consistent with the Burke County 2016-2030 land use plan and the Burke County zoning ordinance. However, rezoning the subject parcel would not be reasonable in the public interest because, number one, the majority of the findings presented by staff suggest that rezoning the property to the office institutional district may not be appropriate for this location. Number two, if the parcel was rezoned, it would permit any land use that is permitted within the office institutional district. Some permissible land uses may have more of an impact than the proposed business on the surrounding county. Number three, the Planning Board held a public meeting on June 22nd, 2017, and after weighing the information presented by planning staff, the comments from the applicant, and the comments from the local citizens, the Planning Board voted 2-5 to approve rezoning application ZMA 2017-05. The motion fell. The Planning Board recommendation, therefore, was not to approve the rezoning.
Thank you, Commissioner Carswell. Gentlemen, you've heard the motion. I'll entertain the vote at this time. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by the uplifted hand. Madam Clerk, that's 5-0. Thank you, and thank you, citizens, for being here tonight to let your feelings be known. We appreciate that. At this time, we'll move on to informal public comments. Madam Clerk, do you have anybody signed up tonight?
I do not, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. We have no one signed on for public.
So drunk you can't drive, and yet you drive.
Y'all supposed to hear the consent agenda? I mean, you're missing
The little granddaughter, great-granddaughter would say, we got
the
it.
crowd. Poor Ed, he won't have anybody to show off. Got good information.
Uh-huh.
So he's going to run for re-election.
No.
Okay, we'll carry on now with the rest of our meeting. This brings us to item number 9, consent agenda. Thank you, officer. We'll ask the county manager at this time to present the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You have 16 items. First, clerk appointment to the Tourism Development Authority. Second, community development MOA and grant of site access, North Carolina Division of Parks and Recreation, Fontaine Ford State Trail within Lake James State Park. Item 3, county manager FHEC maintenance agreement with Western Piedmont Community College. Item 4, general services, solid waste division, Joyce Engineering annual services, fiscal year 2018. Item 5, Health Department MCH budget reduction for fiscal year 2018. Item 6, Health Department reclass of Public Health Nurse 2 to Social Worker 2. Item 7, JCPC appointment and removal of members. Item 8, JCPC approval of pass-through funding for Children's Hope Alliance Home Remedies from North Carolina Department of Public Safety. Item 9, Parks, modification to alcohol use regulations at FHEC. Item 10, Register of Deeds, approval of passport photo service fee. Item 11, Sheriff, approval of authorized signers for civil bank account. Item 12, Tax Department EMS collections report for June 2017. Item 13, Tax Department tax collection report for July 2017. Item 14, Tax Department release refund report for July 2017. Item 15, Tax Department collections annual settlement report for 2016/2017. And item 16, Tax Department order to collect 2017 taxes. That concludes your consent agenda.
Thank you, Brian. Gentlemen, you've heard the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to accept it as presented.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Wayne. You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. All of us, Madam Clerk. This brings us to item 10, items for decision. We have one item tonight. This is Finance Jail Reimbursement Resolution and Expenditure Authorization presented by Paul Imes, Deputy County Manager, Finance Director. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As our contractor begins work on construction of the new jail facility, he has requested, and the contractor, in case anyone does not recall, but it's Vanoy Construction, they have requested authorization to proceed with an early site development package on the proposed facility at an estimated cost of $1,153,226. I think they want to go ahead and get started with grading and those kind of things so they can avoid any delay in the project. But in order to do that, since the county anticipates that we will borrow the money to build the facility, but approval to do that will not happen until early next year, probably March would be the earliest we could get local government commission approval to finance the project. But in order to get started and incur those costs, the county is being asked to more or less upfront those funds with a general fund balance appropriation. And then in order to get reimbursed when the financing is approved next spring, the board is asked to consider adopting a reimbursement resolution that is attached. It was prepared by the county's bond council. It's similar to the resolution we passed to build the new elementary school. So the request, we're rounding that off to $1.2 million because there will also be some other smaller expenses that come up that we'll need funds for prior to actually issuing a financing next spring. So the board is asked to consider appropriating $1.2 million of general fund balance to cover any preliminary work, including the early site development package, and then adopt the resolution that establishes the board's intent to reimburse itself for any cost, including these, once the financing is in place next spring. The resolution also includes the board's stated intent that it will approve a financing of up to $21 million for the project.
All right,
Glad
thank you,
to answer
Paul.
any questions.
Gentlemen, you've heard this information presented by Paul. Any questions for Paul on this matter?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, Paul's sixth line down, the county expects these expenditures to be reimbursed.
6 lines in the resolution or the actual?
The county expects, the word expects.
Right. Yes.
Couldn't that be will be?
Well, I think the wording is similar to the wording in the resolution, but yes, I would. Again, the county's intention is that anything we expend, including this, will come from proceeds of the financing. Now, I guess the word expects really, because we do not know for certain that the local government commission will approve it until they approve it. Now, there's no reason for me to believe that they will not, But at this point in time, I think we're just expecting to get reimbursed from the financing proceeds, because if for some strange reason the local government commission turned it down, we obviously could not get reimbursed. So
The second question was the paper. I believe it was, I don't know if it's Sunday, stated that now we had to go up another $1 million on the price. We're now up to 21 million.
well, I think the contractor's estimate, and I don't think it's in your material, but the estimated cost has increased since, the last discussion. I don't remember exact numbers, but the cost has increased, or expected cost has increased.
So if it goes up $1 million, the payback, counting interest, will go from 32 million to 33 million. That would be a reasonable statement.
Well, I think what you're doing with this action tonight is establishing the point that the county only anticipates that we will borrow 21 million. Anything that was in excess of that would have to come from fund balance.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Any other questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion on this item.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a two-part motion. First part, to approve the appropriation of $1.2 million of the general fund balance for an early site work development package for the jail project. And second part being to adopt resolution number 2017-17.
Thank you, Scott. Gentlemen, you've heard the motion. All those in favor signify by the uplifted hand. Those opposed by the same. Madam Clerk, that's 3-2. All right, this brings us to reports and comments from the board. And I'll ask to start with Council. JR, any comments, reports tonight?
Nothing from me tonight, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes, if you will, please. I did want to draw attention. Kay was so nice to print this out to you about the 11th annual air quality and the water quality meeting. It's got the participators and a little bio on each one of them. I hope you'll take an opportunity to look at that, just so you'll get a perception of the scope of how big that convention is. And on page 5, under the air quality, you'll find Scott Carpenter, who was a participator. And I would like to say, appreciate so much him being a part of that. Also, mental health. I attended a mental health meeting at the convention and really got some shocking news, and can't hardly wait till Thursday when we have our regional mental health meeting for partners, mental health partners. The budget in 2016-17, which is last year, $263.7 million for the 8 counties, for the North Carolina. In 2017-18, it's cut to $180 million, which is a little better than a third cut on it, and don't know what that's going to mean to mental health. We also learned at the convention that $31 million was designated for opium treatment and advertising, et cetera, and I just wondered if maybe that's where part of the money's coming from, is out of our budget. And I did want to say I certainly appreciate the opportunity to attend the convention. Attended a lot of sessions, got a lot of information. Attended one with our county manager on Social Security, and was an eye-opening in a lot of areas. And that book that they provided us with, really, I would love to see one posted in the library or just anywhere where people could go in, and it will lay out the plan. If you make X amount of dollars, this is what you can expect to get if you retire at 63, 65, 66, 67, and right on up. So it was an eye-opener for me, and I really thoroughly enjoyed that session. And enjoyed the camaraderie, and would go back again tomorrow. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Maynard?
Nothing.
Okay. Manager?
Chairman, members of the board, the staff is working closely with our construction manager at risk and our architect for the Hildebrand Library Senior Center, and we are excited and look forward to the opening on the 31st of August.
All right, thank you, Brian. Commissioner Carson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I may take a point of personal privilege, I'd like to go back to the county attorney for a moment. County attorney is right humble, but I think he needs to tell us what happened to his daughter.
Well, my daughter was accepted into and has now started medical school at the Medical College of Virginia, which is now Virginia Commonwealth Medical School. We had our white coat ceremony on Friday.
Round of applause in order.
That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Moe?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to request, I thought maybe Ed Phillips was going to speak tonight, but he didn't. I don't think he signed up. I usually give the tourism report, but since he's here, he's got some updated numbers. Would it be okay for him to come to the lectern and just give us a brief
Come on down,
rundown?
Ed.
Thank you, Scott. It's like you're giving me 3 minutes like we're in the Senate or somewhere in Washington, D.C. I appreciate that. So late yesterday, the domestic visitor spending in North Carolina was released by the North Carolina Visit NC Tourism Office, and we were allowed to release those numbers this afternoon, and I've presented a press release that you guys all have at your stations up there. But I want to tell you that in 2016, county spending by tourists in Burke County rose 5% to $98.48 million. And we beat all our neighbors, Caldwell County and Catawba County and McDowell County. We also beat the state average, which was 4.4% increase. And last year we also saw record numbers of visitors at the visitor center. So things are moving along with tourism. I was telling Commissioner Moe earlier, and I think Commissioner Abley, that who both serve on the tourism board, that this year, 2017, tourist spending in Burke County will surpass $100 million. Now, we won't get that report till next summer, but with just a marginal increase from $98.5 million, we'll make $100 million. And so we're going to have a lot of exciting announcements next year that are tourism related, with accommodations and other attractions expanding and going on in Burke County. And I think 2018 is going to be the year for tourism here in Burke County. And so I'm looking forward to giving you guys a bigger report on that. But I'll stop at that and wave my remaining time back to Moe.
Thank you, Ed. Scott?
I couldn't have said it better, so that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
None for me, thank you.
All right, thank you. I have just a few announcements I want to make tonight, and I too, along with Commissioner Taylor, Carswell, and Moe, attended the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners Conference last week, attended a number of very interesting sessions, and appreciate the opportunity of going, and we may be able to share a little bit more about that later. But I want to announce again the ribbon cutting and open house for Burke County Public Library Senior Center on August the 31st at 9:30 a.m. in Hildebrand. Public, of course, is invited and encouraged to attend, and there'll be some events at that time for the young and the young at heart. So we hope that many of our citizens will come and be a part of that exciting day for Burke County. Remind you that county offices will be closed on Monday, September the 4th, in observance of Labor Day. And September's Board of Commissioners pre-agenda meeting will be held at the new library and senior center in Hildebrand on September the 5th at 4 p.m. So make note of that for the pre-agenda meeting. These meetings are, of course, open to the public and citizens, and we always encourage folks to come and attend with us. Also remind you that the historic Morganton Festival will be held on September the 8th and 9th. So come and downtown and enjoy the festival here in Morganton. And I want to take just a moment or two to recognize the achievements of several of our Burke County Recreation Department's baseball and softball teams tonight. Our 8U Machine Pitch American League Baseball All-Star team beat Shelby to win the District 1 All-Star Tournament, which we hosted here at Reed Park. County in July to qualify for the Tar Heel League State Tournament in Williamston, North Carolina on July 27th to 30th. At the state tournament, they finished third place in the state with wins over South Edgecombe and Pitt County. Our other 8U Machine Pitch National League Baseball All-Star team also qualified for that same state tournament and ended up losing in the consolation bracket. However, they did win a game against Hamlet at that meeting. Also, our 10U and 12U Burke County Recreation Department softball all-star teams made it to their state tournaments. The 10U state softball tournament was in Beulahville, North Carolina, and our 10U softball all-star team finished in the consolation bracket but did pick up a win against Topsail. The 12U team was in Smithfield, Clayton, and they finished in the consolation bracket but picked up a win against Johnston County. So we want to congratulate all these teams for their success, and I also want to thank Wesley Hassan, our athletic director, for all the efforts that he puts forth in our recreation department here in Burke County. So I know the audience has gotten slim, but let's give these folks a hand. All right, Madam Clerk, coming to you for vacancy announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. We have the following opportunities for citizens to get involved in our boards and committees: the Hickory Regional Planning Commission, the Adult Care Nursing Home Community Advisory Committees, the Council on Aging, Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, City of Morganton Board of Adjustment, ETJ, and the city's planning board for the ETJ, Voluntary Agriculture Board, the Burke County Board of Adjustment and Planning Board, and we particularly need citizens residing in the East Townships to apply. We have a lot of East seats coming up. The Burke County Parks and Recreation Commission, the Western Piedmont Regional Transit Authority, Transportation Advisory Board, Partners Behavioral Health Management, and the Animal Advisory Board.
Right, thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, gentlemen, tonight we do have need for a closed session to discuss threatened or pending litigation, to preserve the attorney-client privilege, to discuss economic development matters, and to discuss personnel matters. And we'll invite Wood and Scott Carpenter to be a part of those closed session meetings. So I hear a motion that we go into closed session at this time. So moved. Thank you, Wayne. Any others, questions, comments? All in favor say aye. Aye. We'll take about a 5-minute break and go into closed session.
Every flipping time, update and shut down. Every flipping time.
If you do that at home sometimes,
It does it every time I'm in here. Golly.
okay, gentlemen, I hear a motion we come out of closed session.
So moved.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Right, we had one item in closed session concerning personnel, and I'll entertain a motion on that item.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the council to hire a new operations manager for community development at a salary of $49,000.
Okay, gentlemen, you've heard the motion by Commissioner Carswell. All in favor signify by the uplifted hand. Opposed, none. That'd be 5-0, Madam Clerk. All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you, Wayne. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Steve Wisnett, Burke County Sheriff. If you're chosen for our detention or bailiff divisions, it's because we see something in you that we want to invest in, and we will challenge, train, and support you every day to help you realize your full potential. As a former jail administrator, I can tell you that detention is a tough division. We are looking for those officers who want to join a team who take pride in their duties, and because of that pride, we've had quite a number of perfect jail inspections. We provide you with on-the-job training, and we pay you to attend a 4-week jail certification school. We're looking for detention officers who exhibit professionalism and integrity and understand the importance of fairness in discipline and rules in ensuring the safety of our officers and the inmates. Many of our sworn deputies begin their careers on our jail team and further utilize their developed skills of communication, conflict resolution, and de-escalation tactics in one of our other 12 divisions. One of those divisions is our bailiffs, sworn basic law enforcement training graduates who provide security for our judges, district attorneys, clerks of court, and all of our citizens utilizing courthouse services. As a bailiff, you may be opening and providing security for courtrooms, transferring inmates to and from our jail to the courtroom, transporting inmates to and from county jails, and dealing with a plethora of issues in and outside the courthouse. As the Burke County Sheriff's Office, you are the director of your own career path with a multitude of divisions and options to pursue. Ask yourself this: do you actually know what you're capable of? Do you want to find out? See if you have what it takes to join our detention or bailiff divisions. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Brian Steen, the Burke County Manager, and I'd like to introduce you to Zeke, Ty, and Chloe. They're my 3 pets, and I adopted them all from rescue agencies. I hope if you're thinking about getting a dog or a cat, you'll consider contacting our local rescue agencies and adopt one. If you have a cat or a dog, I hope you'll also consider having them spay or neutered to help us reduce the number of unwanted pets in Burke County. Whatever you can do to help us would be appreciated, and in a moment we'll show you some contact information for both the rescue agencies in Burke County and agencies that can help you with low-cost spay and neuter. Thank you again, and I hope you have a great day.